On January 9, 2007, Steve Jobs introduced the Apple iPhone, a revolutionary device that's potential would never truly be recognized until the release of Kim Kardashian Hollywood in 2014, but I digress. It's hard to overstate the sheer impact that this one device had on the overall industry. It did away with physical keyboards and tacky styluses, and mashed everything together into one sleek, compact device. But the true impact came with the release of the App Store in July of 2008. Originally, Steve Jobs didn't intend to create a store for native apps, instead wanting companies to develop web apps to be used inside Safari. However, after an immense backlash from developers, Apple changed its mind and created an app developing kit for software makers. And that of course led to a ton of now iconic apps being released, such as Doodle Jump, Cut the Rope, Angry Birds, Fruit Ninja, you know them. Among these early developers was a Slovenian-based company called Outfit 7, started by husband and wife team Samo and Iza Login, which I definitely pronounced right. They began the company with 6 of their friends and began developing a few apps for the App Store. Unfortunately, their first attempts did not gain the success they were hoping for, and that really isn't a surprise considering that their first apps included a travel guide to Iceland and a wealth affirmation app? Alright, let's check my bank account. Huh? What's this? Notification? Look, it doesn't matter how much money you have, man, okay? You are perfect just the way you are. You're right, I am. You know what, I'm gonna treat myself to a nice dinner. Oh yeah, I can't afford it. But even though that clearly amazing idea flopped, after 6 months of development, Outfit 7 released an app called Talking Tom Cat in July 2010, a children's app featuring an anthropomorphic cat that would repeat whatever you said back to it in a high-pitched voice. Yes, this is what passed for entertainment back in 2010, when the very idea of apps at all was new and exciting. You know how in early passenger flights there was no first class because the very concept of flying was considered a luxury? Well, it was kind of the same with the mobile app market. If you weren't around for this era where apps were just starting out, I don't know, maybe I have some 8-year-old viewers. It was basically the Wild West. Essentially anyone could develop something for the App Store, and that meant that everyone was just throwing everything at the wall and seeing what stuck. There was also no guarantee as to what would hit the front page, and the stuff that ended up there was always the weirdest, most out-of-the-box thing you could imagine. It was truly the best time to be alive. Anyway, Talking Tom Cat was an incredible success for Outfit 7. I can't find any numbers on the app itself, but the entire Talking franchise hit 300 million downloads after 19 months of Talking Tom being released. And today that number sits at a staggering 18 billion. Oh yeah, I said franchise. Talking Tom was by no means the only app the company released. In 2011, a sequel app, aptly named Talking Tom 2, was released, as well as a companion app titled Talking Gina, which was basically the same thing except that it had a giraffe instead of a cat. Also released in 2011 was Talking Ben, which was a dog instead of a cat. Then there was Talking Pierre, which was a parrot instead of a cat. And then of course Talking Ginger, which instead of a cat was a smaller, oranger cat. Then of course came the subject of today's video, Talking Angela, which instead of a smaller orange cat, it was a big white cat. What a paragon of creativity this company was. Luckily though, people did get tired of the oversaturation of talking animal apps, their profits slowly started to dwindle, and Outfit 7 eventually stopped developing this type of app and moved on to other things. Totally kidding. Absolutely, obviously lying here. How could you even think? Of course they wouldn't. 300 million downloads. The company went on to develop even more animal-related apps for the App Store, including Talking Tom and Ben News, Talking Larry the Bird, Tom's Love Letters, Tom Loves Angela, Talking Ginger 2, My Talking Tom, not to be confused with Talking Tom or Talking Tom 2, Talking Ginger, Talking Santa, Talking Ginger and Santa, My Talking Angela, Talking Tom Jet Ski, Talking Tom Bubble Shooter, Talking Tom Gold Run, My Talking Hank, Talking Angela Color Splash, Talking Tom Camp, Talking Tom Pool, Talking Tom Jet Ski 2, I'm sure there was a lot of demand for that one, Talking Tom Candy Run, Talking Tom Cake Jump, not to be confused with Talking Tom Jump Up, My Talking Tom 2, Talking Tom Fun Fair, Talking Tom Hero Dash, Talking Tom Splash Force, My Talking Tom Friends, My Talking Angela 2, and last but not least, Talking Tom Gold Run 2. The company also introduced a couple of web series starting in 2012, including Talking Friends, Talking Tom and Friends, Talking Tom Shorts, Talking Tom and Friends Minis, and Talking Tom Heroes. Yeah, you thought the Call of Duty or Assassin's Creed milking was bad? Those series wish they were as successful as this series based on a talking cat. Now Outfit 7 obviously developed a few other apps outside of the Talking Tom and Friends line, such as Tiki Tag and Disco Ant, but you had no idea that those even existed up until now, and that's kind of the point. And I can't really blame them for all the milking, considering just how much that milk was worth. By 2017, Outfit 7 was making about $100 million a year. But apparently that wasn't enough for the Logins, or maybe they figured it was time to retire, so they hired Goldman Sachs to find them the best deal for them to sell the company. Eventually they settled on a Chinese peroxide manufacturer, which offered them a grand total of $1 billion for the company, a deal that the Logins obviously ended up taking. What exactly did a Chinese biochemical company want with a mobile games developer? I have no idea. But anyway, enough wasting time, let's finally talk about the game that this video is about, Talking Angela. Now before I begin, I want to mention that YouTuber is already beat me to this video topic. I haven't watched her video yet because I wanted to avoid even subconscious plagiarism, but it's probably good, go watch it. Anyway, Talking Angela was released on December 18th, 2012, and it differs from the other titles in the series in that it has a chatterbot feature, where you could actually talk to Angela and she would respond. In case you're not up to date on your Talking Tom and Friends lore, Angela is Tom's girlfriend, and regularly hangs out with this cafe in Paris, locked in an internal conversation with the player. When you launch the app for the first time, it will ask you for your birthday, then Angela will ask you to pet her. This is weird, right? She will then ask for your name, then engages in multiple conversation threads ranging from friends to movies to music. As far as chatbots go, it's certainly not the best one out there, but for 2012 standards, it's pretty decent. She'll rarely understand any response besides a simple yes or no, but there are a few times where she actually responds surprisingly well to more complex answers.
What do you do with your friends for fun? Seriously? I hope not.
But there's more to the app than just simple conversations. Occasionally, Angela will ask if you want to play a quiz. If you accept, well, she'll give you a quiz. For a children's app, these can actually get quite challenging, or maybe I'm just an idiot.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Can't get fooled again.
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
She can also tell the player stories, which is a fun change of pace. What makes these kind of annoying though is that she tells them in chunks instead of all at once. So I found myself just spamming K to get to the next part because there's nothing really to respond to, which always made me kind of feel like a jerk. She can also ask questions about you and then lead the conversation from there. These can range from asking if you have a pet to your favorite movie. Pretty basic stuff. Aside from the chatbot, there are a few more features to the app. If you tap this heart icon down here, the waiter will bring Angela a fortune cookie, and she'll read it aloud to you.
You will adopt a cat and get scratched.
You can also tap on Angela herself, which will prompt various reactions based on what part of her body you're touching. That was the creepiest sentence I've ever written. Speaking of creepy, in early 2013, only a few months after the app's release, rumors started circulating online that the app was actually a front for a pedophile ring. As far as I can tell, these rumors started with this Facebook post reading, "Warning for to all parents with children that have any electronic devices, iPod, tablets, etc. There is a site called Talking Angela. This site asks kid questions like their names, where they go to school, and also take pictures of their faces by pushing a heart on the bottom left corner without any notices. Please check all your children's iPods and all to make sure they do not have this app. Please pass this message on to your friends and family members that have kids." Despite being a very incoherent and rambly post, clearly written by someone who had no idea what they were talking about, as evidenced by the fact that it couldn't decide whether Talking Angela was a website or an app, this post nevertheless spread across the internet like wildfire. Tons more Facebook posts appeared from panicked parents. Both the App Store and Google Play Store were filled with negative reviews ranting about hackers, and a bunch of YouTube videos were uploaded claiming to expose the creepy app. I was actually there during all of this. Me and my sister were both avid fans of the Talking Friends series in 2014, and Talking Angela was no exception. The primitive chatbot can't hold my attention for that long now, but back then it was the pinnacle of entertainment.
Do you play with your cow?
I don't have a cow.
If I had a pet cow, I wouldn't either. Wink face.
Do you hate me?
Doesn't everyone?
It wasn't until a little while later when I randomly decided to read some App Store reviews for the game, and oh boy, what a trip that was. I remember just laying on my bed scrolling endlessly for at least a couple hours, reading from people who claimed that the app hacked them, or there was a creepy man in one of her eyes. I was really into creepypastas back then too, and this was essentially one of those on a much wider scale. I don't remember for how long, but I definitely believed everything that I was reading. She watches you. This is not a safe app. I let my 5-year-old download this, and by clicking this heart, Angela knew that she was in the playroom. Angela told my daughter that she had orange hair and lots of freckles. After that, she started sobbing and knew she was watching her. Don't download this, and if you do, don't play it. I know you're lying, and my real address came up. Do not download this app. I am warning you. Do not download this app. It is totally dangerous, and don't listen to what the makers of the app will tell you. If you emergency, do not download for your safety. This game hacks your electronic device. If you wish to download, make sure you get the eyes of Angela. You see a room, somebody can see you, but you can't see him. Do not download this app. Look at her eyes for more information. Darling, and take your damn finger off the camera. Please read. I've seen so many comments and articles about this app. When she had fell, the whole game stopped, and there was this little version of Angela staring at me in the middle, top area of the screen. He's even taking pictures. Do not lie. Person who talked about children's body shows when she started using this. This was so creepy for those who are downloading. Finally, I had to turn off my iPad. Please be careful. Back to the Google app. I hope you liked our little talk. Strange. This game. asked you private information such as what school do you go to, where do you live, how old are you, delete this app now, it gets all your information. I asked if it could don't get app parents, so my cousin, please do not download. I asked if my pedophiles were rating my children correctly. I was pretty started creeping me out, so I said to my sister, they will find out what school your child goes to and down. We got pretty scared. At this point, me and my sister were really scared, so we quickly deleted the app. Then she goes on Facebook and her friend was at home with her daughter. Do not download this game. One of my friend's daughter was playing it and asked her really wired questions. Stick your tongue out. My friend then called the police. I mean, what kind of cat would do that? So parents, I may be a kid, but trust me, do not download. I used to live for Angela, now I hate her. Now, most of these reviews were from kids who had heard the urban legend and wanted to flex their creative writing skills, but some I'm sure were also kids who read the stuff other people were writing about the game and genuinely wanted to help warn other people about the supposed dangers of the app, which is kind of both sweet and a little sad, but mostly funny. So, from these reviews we can gather that the main points of contention were that the app supposedly asks very personal questions, such as where the user lives or goes to school, and also takes random pictures of the user. One especially creepy claim was that a man could actually be seen in one of Angela's eyes. This man was supposedly the hacker, or leader of the pedophile ring, depending on what review you read. This man apparently could use the camera on your phone to look at the user and accurately tell them about their physical appearance. With the sheer amount of reviews claiming to have had creepy experiences with the app, I definitely sympathize with all the kids who believe that they were true. That being said, this is the part where I rant about how stupid all these claims are. Man in her eyes? What are you talking about? If there really was a hacker that could take over your phone and camera from the app itself, why on earth would he put a live feed of himself in the eyes? Seems like a pretty surefire way to get caught, don't you think? And why would he reveal himself by telling users what their house looks like, or what their hair color is? Isn't his goal to stay hidden? Is his goal just to scare people? And do you know just how many people were using the app when these rumors started circulating? By February of 2014, Talking Angela had been downloaded 57 million times. Even if only 1/4 of those actually used the app every month, that's over 14 million monthly users. How could the hacker possibly manage that amount of smartphones? As Samo Logan said in an interview he did with The Guardian, we have millions of users every day using this app. Could you imagine? We need an army of pedophiles. It's ridiculous. And of course they didn't have that, because that slogan has already been taken by the Catholic Church. As for the claim that the app would take pictures of you without you knowing, apparently an older version of the app did have a photo taking feature, although it functioned identically to the native camera app on any smartphone. And no, it would never take pictures randomly, you actually had to press a button. This claim may also be referring to this little circle up here, where if you toggle it on, it will turn on your front-facing camera. From there, if you make any facial movements that it recognizes, such as smiling or yawning, Angela will replicate it. It's not the most well-developed feature, but it does work some of the time. Anyway, yeah, that's all it is. It doesn't take your picture or anything, it just uses the camera to read your facial movements. After the hoax first started circulating in early 2013, the fact-checking website Snopes looked into it and published an article debunking the various claims. Aside from that though, the urban legend stayed relatively under the radar until February of 2014 when it exploded. Tons more Facebook posts appeared, the App Store was spammed with negative reviews, and every news outlet under the sun scrambled to investigate and see what was going on with this app. However, just like Snopes did in 2013, all these outlets came to the conclusion that there was nothing suspicious about the app.
We found out it's just not true. There's not a creeper behind Angela's eyes, and the app cannot track your kids when their phone is turned off.
The rumors were all untrue. There was no hacker in Angela's eyes. The app didn't take random pictures of its user, and while the app did ask for the user's age and name, that was to make sure Angela wasn't discussing more adult topics to children, and so that she could refer to the user by name. Outfit 7 also came out and said that while they didn't collect individual users' data, they did use aggregate data in order to improve the app and program better responses for Angela. The hoax got so big in February 2014 that an article began circulating claiming that a 7-year-old boy named Eli Marino had gone missing after downloading the app. The article said that after his mother downloaded the app, Angela started asking personal questions such as, "What are you wearing right now?" Eli was reported missing later that day, and a detective asked his mother about the Talking Angela app, and even said that multiple children had gone missing after downloading the app as well. This story was of course just as fake as all the other scary stories about the app. It was published by the fake news site Hustlers, which also published a story claiming that McDonald's nuggets were made with human flesh. The photo of Eli Marino that they featured on the article was actually a boy from Central America who was very much not missing. So that's all the big claims debunked, but these reviews also mention a lot of little things that I thought I would investigate myself. Many reviewers were creeped out by the claim that if you type Illuminati into the chat bar, Angela would turn on the phone's flashlight. This one sounds insane, but it's actually true. However, it's not due to anything nefarious. Angela is programmed to turn on the flashlight if the user types the word illuminate, and if you type Illuminati, the app just assumes that it was a typo and turns the flash on anyway. A few reviews and even some news articles claim that Angela will talk about inappropriate topics such as clothing swap parties, and The Guardian actually claimed that she'll talk to you about, No matter how hard I tried to provoke these conversations, Angela just wouldn't cooperate, so I think it's safe to say that they were probably removed by Outfit 7 before version 2.5, which is the one that I have. And yeah, I can't really blame them. Yet more reviews claim that if you type "who's an idiot" into the chat bar, Angela will say a random swear word. This one is so insane that I was sure it was fake, but it turns out that it's definitely true. I have no explanation for this. So yeah, Talking Angela wasn't a front for hackers or pedophiles, and all the people claiming that were either bad actors spreading misinformation, or scared kids with good intentions also spreading misinformation. However, that's not to say that there's no valid criticisms to be had with the app. All the inappropriate stuff that Angela could talk about could be disabled by turning on child mode, which would get rid of the entire chatbot feature. However, some parents have argued that child mode is just too easy to turn off. When the app first launched, apparently it was as easy as tapping a button, but the company did fix this eventually. But instead of a password or a PIN number like most other apps, you now had to type out a set of written numbers like the world's easiest CAPTCHA. Basically all you had to do was know how to read, so this didn't exactly soothe the fears of many parents. Some parent reviews of the app also mentioned that the advertisements featured on the app were sometimes pornographic. I didn't come across any myself, but with the App Store being as insane and unmoderated as it was in the early 2010s, I have no issues believing this claim. Now you might expect that a large amount of rumors claiming that your app is a front for child molesters would be kinda bad for business. However, you would be completely wrong because the exact opposite happened. The hoax actually boosted sales significantly, and by April of 2014, Talking Angela was at number 3 on the App Store most popular list. This of course did nothing but spread the hoax even more, so much so that in 2017 the chatbot feature was removed from the app entirely, basically making the app stuck in child mode forever. Needless to say, fans of the series weren't very happy that the only thing that made Talking Angela unique had been removed, and I can't blame them. Now she just stares at you, blankly. Huh? Another notification? Look, it doesn't matter if she stopped talking to you, okay, man? You are amazing, and you will find someone who will, okay?
We'll be right back.